gonna happen?
Yeah.
Stumpy surely doesn't.
That's
so,
a really good point.
one in the blue, one in
Really
the
good
orange. Let's get into it.
History repeats itself. We go back to Landon. Metzanoris was here before. Torment was here before. How does it rock up this time?
Oh, how does it rock up this time? That's a great question. A lot of people at home obviously thinking version 1. I think that's fair to say. They tend to play a little bit more of an offensive game, and generally that tends to be where I lean as well, but I do really like the way that Endpoint have been looking the past couple of regionals. I think a lot of great defense, and things are looking up for them for me, so I think I lean that side.
Well, the NA versus EU rivalry has heated up because, well, BDS are now in the lower bracket, so we're going to have to see if Endpoint can make a point there for EU as well, but it'll be interesting to see. Last time, we did see Metzanoris take the win over Torment.
Yes, it was a long time ago now, but they've both had really good turnarounds in terms of their career. I mean, version 1 with Torment had a little bit of a turn-off where it's like, I'm not sure if Torment's really going to make it back to the top, and Downcom in Beast Mode has absolutely done it. And if you told me 3 years ago that Metza was going to make a big turnaround in his career, I would have laughed in your face. So really proud of how he's turned around his own career with his two teammates, as well as that's going to be to the back post. Com going to score first. Version 1 going to open things up.
Huge for V1 as well. They started off the Winter Major strong. Beast Mode having, in my opinion, the best ever first series performance of a LAN rookie. And Com being right behind him, he's getting the first goal.
Absolutely. A lot of people were big on Com, and certainly been a boon for version 1 since they picked him up. We'll see if Endpoint can figure out how to handle him.
I'm a little scared too. You don't want to give Com confidence at these lands. You know what it does to their opponents, how he's going to get in their grill, how he's going to start yelling at them. Hopefully Endpoint can stay calm. Relating Wave just not able to get past the defense.
Really like that patience of version 1. Nice couple of drives here for Endpoint finally, and curious to see if that midfield is able to stick with version 1 in the clear game, as Relating Wave towards the net denied by Torment and Beast Mode. And you still can't find a way through that orange goal line.
I love how Archie as well spent this season, even though he's the carry player, looking very rotational, looking to set up his two teammates. And you saw it in this play. It didn't quite work out. Now V1 do have a chance, but it's kept out by that man, Archie, that we'll be talking about a lot throughout this series.
Does have a lot to work on. The desk mentioned it, that he does tend to be that backline player, and the physicality going to be a very important thing to keep an eye on for version 1. Are they able to make contact? Dished it in the middle. Nobody there for Endpoint. And version 1 kind of struggling to get a solid enough touch on the ball, but that'll finally at least break it loose.
Yeah, this is where Endpoint want to be, make it V1 awkward in defense, but they have got down to the other end. Version 1 looking for the shot. They take one straight towards the defender. Relating Wave is waiting for it.
Pushed around to the side. Free ball here for Metza. Not a lot of options for Endpoint, kind of struggling to move that ball side to side, really look for each other. It's currently just a matter of, can we at least get possession and hold on to it for a little bit, it feels like, for both teams.
Endpoint, as we hit the halfway mark of this game, are going to start feeling under the gun. V1 are getting all these chances in attack. They are looking for passes across, and Com is waiting. Gets the pass up, back to Beast Mode. He's looking for the angle. He's found it. Beast Mode takes it 2-0.
Relating Wave really crossed up in the net right here, trying to easy to lose track of where they are, and Beast Mode sitting right on the corner of the box. Great shot all the way to the back post, took it away from him.
You wouldn't imagine this is a LAN at all. Com had gone all the way to that back right corner. That is very aggressive positioning, very risk-taking, and obviously pays off.
Opening kickoff, not quite the chance for Endpoint they were hoping it would be. Losing a couple of races there on the orange half as well. Make sure that if you take an aggressive challenge like that, you don't want to allow the 2-on-1 back the other way for a team like version 1. And we'll see if Endpoint can get the ball in the very capable hands of Relating Wave. He's been a great put-away player the whole season, Yummy.
Yeah, but he hasn't had those opportunities. We've seen a couple of chances, but nothing really that Endpoint normally give him. He gives him, they get so many open chances, so many setups from Archie as well, but not really any in this game. And their backs are starting to get against the wall of Chiefs.
Press towards the wall. Nice dish out into the middle of the box. Unfortunately, deep positioning for version 1. Let Endpoint out of their own half a little bit. Shot towards the right corner. Is it fast enough? Just missing contact to take it away from the defense. Metza, oh, so close, and going to stall out in the midfield.
Huge credit to the veteran Metza. There's so many players who are old school, who haven't been able to keep up with the mechanics, but he's an absolute grinder. Almost pulled off the pre-flip, and maybe next time.
Dumped put into the middle. Version1 looking for one more on net. That will indeed squeak just over Metza's car. Com going to turn in 3, and that'll likely put game 1 out of reach.
Well, we've had 4 3-0s so far this game. This day. Version1 are looking to try and do the same. This is a very dominant game 1 and has to be the bag for V1.
Yeah, real strong opening for Version1. A couple of okay pushes for Endpoint back on the other side, but not really able to connect in terms of the position.
Oh,
no. Well, there's veteran versus veteran. Torment wins that fight.
Well, Torment wants revenge. It has been 4 years, but he finally gets it, giving Metzadoris a chance at an own goal.
Tough break for Metza, but that one's not going to sting too deep. You already knew you were down 3. A minute 20 on the clock. Oh, well, you give up one more. You kind of sit here and figure out, okay, it's not too much to fix moving into game 2. You know you just want to try and move the ball a little bit better past that midfield line. You thought you at least had some okay pushes and weren't really struggling too much to clear the ball, so you're not too worried about Version1 pushing you that much. It's really just, okay, how do we hold on to possession, try and have a few more chances over on that orange side, because Version1, yeah, they scored a few goals. It's not like they were absolutely breaking Endpoint down, though.
This is the worry I've had as well about Endpoint coming in, that they might be slow starters, coming in with Archie, having to warm up throughout the season. But the thing is, you get to land, there's a few more nerves, somebody plays a little bit different, the rotation's shut down, and they have to go back to ground 1, which we saw didn't work for them at the start of this split.
Yes, definitely a rocky beginning, to be sure, but they did find their footing. That is one of the advantages of having 3 regionals per split. You can sort of figure out your way through there, and Endpoint's certainly a team to turn it around quite nicely.
Well, context from today, maybe taking down BDS in that last event wasn't so great.
Unfortunately, Endpoint a little frustrated at not all things work out. You can never know how everything is going to pan out. Even the wisest don't know how everything will work through. And unfortunately for them here, Version1 going to close out strong 4-0 in game 1.
You go back to the Winter Major. V1, right from the very get-go, 3-0'd phase. Then they took down Moist, who we obviously know are great at LAN. And that was their first ever time at LAN. It was Beast Mode's first ever LAN. They're kind of continuing that form right here in game 1, starting off great.
Yeah, really great opening for Version1. You knew that they were like, okay, they didn't even really have to get too physical, which was another thing of, are they going to have to break down Archie that often? No. Turns out they just kind of squeezed through the midfield a little bit and put Endpoint in some awkward scenarios that they can't quite handle. So you don't really have to fix too much or do anything different if you're Version1. You have to say, look, we came here and we're ready to go. And Endpoint's sitting here thinking, it's a couple ugly looks on defense.
Yeah, they get to keep Com in their back pocket. You know, he's got those demos. He can do a lot. They don't need it right now.
You said it. You said it. He's going to get in their grill.
He certainly has. But Endpoint, they're very good at adapting here. They're great at spending that time, even if it's just 1 minute, getting back into the series, figuring it out. Eclipse are always getting the moving too. So I would say a 4-0 is going to be too telling to how the next game will go.
Yeah, I would agree. Endpoint has generally tended to turn around quite nicely throughout the season. A couple of big series throughout in all of those different regionals that they had to play, of course. So I would agree with you that adaptability is certainly likely to come through against Version1, because I think you make a great point about first series is always difficult, even for teams who have been here tons of times like Torment and Metza. There's no guarantee you get out there your first game on stage and you look lights out. It's a very rare thing. And so I think Endpoint definitely has it in him to, and you can see Eclipse, he's like, okay, let's go ahead, turn this one around. We know we didn't give up too much in terms of poor play. It's just like, okay, we know we can play better than that. And it's not like one person's dragging anybody down or anything like that. They're like, all right, just settle down a little bit. We'll be all right.
Now, we've seen a lot of fluctuation for motivation as well throughout the teams, throughout such a very long season. In Archie's case, I think the second split, he'd kind of got down on Senpai. That's the large reason why he came over to Endpoint. His hours immediately jumping up. I think that's been a large reason why they've got these extra results. Are they able to back it up? Are they able to bring it in game 2 and take that extra step? Archie should be that player making a huge difference here.
An opportunity to show it, for sure. As Endpoint, indeed, going to set up a nice transition here with Archie to be the rock in the midfield and maybe have an opportunity to put one away. And there's the bit of physicality. Com making sure that Endpoint doesn't have as much stability in the midfield with the demo.
Well, it didn't take very long there. The demo comes out and you just saw him completely turn around to go for it. That is quick decision making on that demo. It has led to a chance, though, at the other end. Endpoint looking for these shots. They have get the pass in, but good save out from Torment, who is always solid on that back line.
Absolutely. One of the best defenders North America has ever had, to be sure. But also a much better look for Endpoint here in Game 2. Haven't let Version1 out of their own half yet. Struggling to put things on target, but they'll take this over how Game 1 looked.
And Endpoint, how good are they when they are holding that pressure forward? How long can they keep it for?
The answer is currently about a minute. They finally let Version1 out of their own half. But Endpoint, I believe, has tended to be more of a counter-attacking team, so they're definitely comfortable to sit on their own half more often than press.
Yeah, I haven't seen them really get some opportunities to open the net. That solo play, the pass is getting shut down very quickly from V1. And so it feels like V1 are going to be comfortable holding this backboard defense.
Oh, and they just let him through back the other way. Metza gets cooked with a long shot from the Version1 half. I want to see what broke down. They both went for the same boost, and Relating is trying to give a little space so they don't hit each other. Ends up being a really awkward miscommunication of the midfield line.
And Metza kind of wanted to eke forward. They had all that pressure. They had these sniffs at the net, and you end up getting a little too aggressive, especially when the nerves are high.
Tough start for Game 2, considering how well that first minute was going for Endpoint. Find yourself in the hole again. As that's a great pinch. Is that going to go back the other way? Not quite in time. Torment, as you said, such a tough guy to get the ball through.
Haven't seen the big play coming out from Beast Mode. Man of many montages, but he's just trying to hit the ball forward. He's playing much more of a team game so far in this series.
Doesn't really feel like they need to also have that one big performance from somebody on Version1. I mean, the mechanic's certainly not going to be a super big decider here when you've got a team like Endpoint who's good opportunity for Relating Wave off that back wall, but you never really feel like you have the space to go for that big 1v1 outplay against a team like Endpoint who spreads the field so nicely.
That's also the kind of shot you'd expect that Relating Wave could pull off.
Yeah.
However, that's the shot they're having to take. They're not able to get those easy ones that you normally want from Endpoint. Meanwhile, V1 holding a great blind in the midfield, and Beast Mode is looking for those air dribbles to set up a solo play. Endpoint going for the 50. They now have a chance in that avenue of attack, but Relating Wave gets a 50 of his own over with Com. Beast Mode manages to clear it out.
Yeah, and you really would have liked to see Relating Wave or Metza come through. I believe it was actually Metza come through with that physicality or the strong challenge, and unfortunately kind of letting Version1 outright there of the cage really gives Version1 a lot of ability to recover here. That could have been a big challenge for him.
It really felt like Endpoint, every single one of their plays is a little too one-dimensional. They have one plan of attack. Let's go for the pressure, not where that next
generating
play.
options.
Yeah, not where that demo is or anything like that. And it's not good enough against V1. They have 1 goal lead here with just less than 2 minutes remaining and looking comfortable at that.
Gotta be careful where they place some of those pads. Oh, it's gonna work out. They missed the redirect. Version1 goes, hang on, they missed, and they end up putting it in their own net. That's tough.
His name's Torment, and that's exactly what I watched. That is painful to see.
Oh, rough one to give back, but now you've got an own goal each for each of the vets, so it's okay. We're all square.
Especially since they'd, really gone in the favor of V1 through the midfield. One mistake, and Endpoint are right back into it. Not only that, they're going to have so much more confidence now they've got their first goal on Archie's scoreboard.
Nice, strong clear all the way across as well, Version1. Very patient here. Doesn't really feel like they need to or want to press super hard over on that Endpoint half. Whereas Endpoint definitely seems to have taken the opposite approach here in Game 2, where they really do feel like they want to get right in Version1's face, make them make the clears, make them work for some of those counterattacks.
Counterattacks have been strong for V1 as well. We're seeing them create opportunities, getting Endpoint diving back, and that's mostly because Endpoint are pushing up a little too hard.
Yeah.
So we might see that happen. We might see V1 actually win from the defense, but if you can break it like Relating Wave has here, you are going to create the chance. Archie blocked out by Com, and that's going to keep it a tight game with just 30 seconds remaining.
Once again, Metza so close to being able to keep that pressure going as Relating Wave going to avoid the air dribble demo. Pass all the way across off the post, and thankfully not into his own net. Endpoint will dodge a bullet with 20 seconds left.
We almost had the triple O goal series. It was A little dicey there, but we do manage to see Endpoint hold on as the clock does tick down towards that 0-second mark. V1 still circling that attack, but it goes the other way. Endpoint don't want it to go to that overtime. It will get a little dicey, it will get a little nervous. And it does hit 0 seconds.
Wisely just let that one fall to the floor. Reset here, no need to give away something that is not a sure chance, and off the kickoff, definitely a great chance, and it's gonna be Calm to drive it home again. He's pointing at him.
This is how overtimes work. They either end immediately or take some time. Archie just didn't think Com was doing it. How brave is Com? How smart is Com in that play?
That's tough as well. Instantly stood up. He's sitting there like, where's the defense?
What are they doing?
Why did nobody do anything?
Endpoint, hello? EU? BDS first, and now we are seeing Endpoint 2 goals down, 2 games down, I should say.
Yeah.
And Com is the one sending up the question marks. How do Endpoint fight back here?
Well, this one obviously a much better look than game 1. I did like the idea from Version1, try and get more aggressive again. It just fell down to some of those big opportunities to keep that pressure going. Sure, they may have got like a boost deal off of it, but they completely missed the challenge, and that let Version1 out in some of those more dangerous opportunities to really build pressure. That's where the breaking point for Endpoint was. And then, of course, you see there on the overtime, just off the kickoff, everyone trying to figure out where they need to position. They can't handle the touch off the backboard, and Version1 will scoop another game.
It's up to Eclipse right now to get them to relax, not push so hard, not worry about scoring those immediate goals, because V1 are very comfortable sitting there on that backboard, getting all that pressure, and they're securing their own corner boosts.
Yeah.
Which is meaning that they're never worried about how they're going to get out.
Can never be, that's the last thing you want to allow, I should say. You certainly don't want to be allowing the boost steals in your own half. Securing your own corner boost, definitely an important thing against a team who likes to play counterattack, or if you are a counterattack, because as soon as you limit your options in terms of getting out of the other half, you're going to be dead in the water. You'll be a sitting duck.
Everybody would have to figure it out. They're in an uncomfortable position. They probably feel like they should be doing a lot better. They haven't been playing poorly, but they haven't been getting the results. V1 now on match point. Are we going to get another 3-0 today?
This is a big game as well for teams outside of the major. If Endpoint managed to win this series, it will eliminate Europe number 5 seed from Worlds. So a lot of work to go for Endpoint if they want to have a better chance in this series, obviously. But as we will have a pause here, it's actually an interesting talking point that I just brought up, because a win here from Endpoint eliminates Vitality and Liquid from going to Dallas.
So we've got a few people cheering specifically against Endpoint from Europe. Usually, if you are in that region, if you're a European, you'd want to cheer for Endpoint to try and get more spots for your region. But in this case,
the loss from BDS
especially
hurts.
Vitality, especially Vitality, just want them to fall straight out.
That's a long road back, and it always hurts when your destiny is not in your own hands. It's never a fun scenario to be in, but you are currently very happy that Endpoint is struggling to figure out an answer for Version1 right now. And I would say Endpoint has the answer. It's kind of the what's the right way to describe it? Showing your work. Show your work that you have the answer. Can you prove that that is indeed correct? And I think they have the right idea. It's just that matter of tighten up a little bit. Keep that pressure going. And I know they can do it, but I don't think if you miss that challenge and all you get is the boost deal out of it, I think that gives way too much back to Version1 the other way as we restart at 4:36 on the clock here in Game 3.
Well, V1 looking to continue the story, not from 4 years ago, but from the Winter Major, where, of course, North America showed up huge. So already looking to be a bit V1 favored right off this kickoff, right off the unpause, but it is a good challenge by Relating Wave to get them out.
Like that speed as well from Version1. No hesitation from Calm on that challenge, reading the game very well. Certainly a good place to be in. When kind of shot opportunities have come at sort of a premium here in this series, as there's one on target, and again, Torment going to jump off the backboard and make a great stop.
And you notice that Com stayed on the ground. There's a lot of confidence in the teamwork in Torment to be able to make that save early as he pre-jumped to show that he was going to go up. So teamwork coming out in defense, V1, that's just a sign of confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. You like to have faith, and especially what a lot of people would say is probably your best defender. Have him go out there and make big stops. Can't ask for much more as Version1 seeing if there's any gaps there on the defense. As again, that speed from Calm, such a huge problem right now.
And V1 at the same time, they've been getting these attacking chances, and they're not looking like the V1 we expect. Not many solo players, it's very team-based. Com this time making the save. The V1 have held out. Can they get the counter? Torment goes flying past.
They caught him too. Metza take a little detour to grab some boost as a pinch back the other way will make sure Version1 stays here on the blue half, but score will stay 0-0, and Endpoint trying to find a way out. No free passes along with that boost steal as well.
Yeah, Com was getting chased by Relating Wave. Otherwise, he had a very good chance on the net
demo.
again. Big demo from Com. He's looking for the second. It's open. Beast Mode will score, but that was all on Com.
It all starts with that boost steal too, and then they double commit as well. They get beat on the challenge, and that's what you're saying. If you're gonna go for it, you gotta hit the ball. Combine it with the boost steal and the demo on the back line is just a full collapse of that Endpoint defense. Great play from Version1 on all fronts.
Com said in the interview he wanted to silence the doubters. He's personally been doing that throughout this series.
Oh, that's just gross.
Juicy shot as well. Top right corner, Metsadorus the double, over to Relating Wave. They were all pushed up.
That's I don't care who you are. Good luck saving that one. That's a great pass towards the backboard, and it's all about, do you have the touch, the control to get that one across the pitch to your teammate? And what a bit of execution from Endpoint to tie it up.
You just don't have time to react. And Com's going deadly with the demos too. Halfway through the game, he started to spike a few of them. Maybe open up the net for Version1, but Endpoint getting out quickly. Looking for that pass that goes up the field, so it's a quick counter-attack chance.
Nice press here from Endpoint. Little floater. Still curious. I'd like to see that pressure from Endpoint come to bear, and doesn't seem like they feel confident in that approach anymore. And can't say you really blame them being down 2 games here, tied again. Do you want to try and be really aggressive, or do you want to do what you know? And a lot of teams will take the style that they're comfortable with.
Lots of balls are being hit high up in the midfield right now too, and that's actually favoring Endpoint, which is a little bit surprising to me, but it seems to be Version1 happy to stay more grounded, look for the demos, wait for the opportunities to come. So Endpoint now a bit more in the driver's seat, getting to create the chances rather than waiting for them themselves.
That first touch.
Big
miss Com, and yeah, that's the right play. Just dump it back into the corner. Everybody reset here for Endpoint. Whoops.
Yeah, if this was a grand final, I'm sure that would have happened right in front of the net, but thankfully for Endpoint, they keep their chance alive here. They keep Stumpy's hopes alive here as they look for a shot over the top. No, Beast Mode does get a touch, and Endpoint just have to get out of dodge with Version1 having a chance to go the other end. They don't manage to do it. It's still going to circle around the V1 net. Archie looking for the touch as well. Over to Metza. There's no follow-up. Relating and Wave, and Archie were off course.
This is Endpoint really just trying to keep the ball here in the orange half and see what Version1 gives them. It's definitely not about trying to find your teammate or anything. It's just, okay, yeah, I can go, and I'm not sure where it needs to go at the moment, but maybe it's that way.
That especially hurts for a player like Archie, who wants to have that option across. You see him go up for multiple of these balls where he doesn't have any option to pass, and he's just circled into that one play. Very obvious for V1 to be able to defend, but maybe it's enough to send quantity over quality as Endpoint keep taking those shots. The V1 still seem fine.
A lot of good boost steals as well, but finally it's Beast Mode going to work his way through 2 challenges in the midfield, give Version1 a little bit of breathing room, but does it last? It's dumped to Metza, and that should be a touch. Great clear opportunity for Version1. You just got to control the ball, and Com making sure to bring it down on the dribble.
Oh, it's great work from Com to stay behind that one. It really shut down the chance for Endpoint as we head towards the 0 seconds again. V1 looking to get it before the overtime. And it does get held up by Endpoint. It will hit the ground. OT in game number 3.
Now don't collapse here on your kickoff, Endpoint. You can't afford to have Com stand up again and point at you and say, I don't know what you guys are doing, but we're going to win the game.
It was a much safer kickoff. They went to win the kickoff into the other half. It does reduce the chance that you get scored on, but it also reduces the chance that you gain possession of the ball, which Torment has now. He's gone high, faked low, faked the flip reset, and it has managed to give V1 an extra chance. Com into Beast Mode. It just does a near miss.
Com is seeing the space that Endpoint's given him. He's trying to utilize it to the best of his ability. If no one's coming to challenge him, I totally believe he brings the ball down on a dribble, tries to make something happen. And Version1, here in this overtime, the big thing is don't get all your boost stolen, because that was really making it tough for them in regulation to stay out in front of the play. They just broke through everybody. It's one-on-one with
Ooh,
Calm.
Calm.
Archie gets faked, and thankfully he has enough of the car behind it. Shot towards the net. Metz is there in the corner. And Endpoint going to survive the one-on-one, but dumped into the middle. A nice cut from Archie.
We've been talking about the battle of these two veterans, but it's been Com, one of the youngest players here, one of the newest players to the LAN scene, who has been having such a huge impact, getting these opportunities. And if V1 can keep that up, they may be able to score, but Endpoint holding on to this midfield as long as they can, get the clear out from Relating Wave, but he won't be able to get the follow-up.
Really good boost.
Really?
Steal is, yeah, actually, I'm surprised he got back all the way to that one. Big double commit from Endpoint, though. They're definitely going to have to give this ball up.
Well, it's starting to see a little bit of panic come into the play, the subconscious feeling that we're in a long overtime, that the nerves come through because everybody is getting on top of those rotations, on top of each other and getting in each other's way. V1 may be able to take advantage of that as they are just taking shots on net. There's been a lot of empty space in this midfield over to Torment.
Straight down?
It's going to go down. Torment, he can't find it. Beast mode gets blocked out.
Such a tough ball to handle if you're Endpoint. You gave up the ball. That's actually going to get driven home. Beast mode's going to close it out in 3. Endpoint can't even muster 1 against Version 1.
Landon in Landon. He comes through in game number 3. Right in that overtime and secures it. The 5th 3-0 in our first day of this LAN.